Hello all, welcome back. So in this video, I'll try to cover end-to-end, that is some basic to advanced tutorial on BeanShell. I already made multiple videos, but uh, all the things will be available in single video here. So at first, I'll start with introduction, like what is BeanShell, what are the things you need to consider when you want to write as first a BeanShell code, and then what are the concepts we have, then how you can implement in day-to-day work. So the first topic will be a BeanShell intro. So everything I will try to cover in Eclipse itself. I'll be executing from the console, like I have console here, terminal, through terminal I have connected to the IAQ console. I will execute the code and I will show you all the things here itself. So the first thing is introduction. So at first, like we need to have means usually Bean Shell is more or less a Java itself, which is incorporated in XML format, like Java code added inside XML format. So everything will be within a source tag. So we have a rule tag here. So all it's all the bean shell, like either it's whether you are using in workflows or forms, wherever it is, everything will be enclosed within source script itself. So if you are going with a standalone bean shell rule, then the tag will be rule. It will have a language. It's a bean shell. Then the name of the rule which you are using. Then at first, like if you want to use any classes, let's say if you want to just print the things, you can use directly sysout. Or if you want to use any specific class API or a module, you need to import those things. Means it's again general Java things only. Let's say if you want to use a, a date class, you need to import that class, like import required Java util. Then SailPoint objects. So SailPoint object, what are the SailPoint object we can use? Those will be available in the Java doc provided by SailPoint itself. So I already shown where we have, like inside WebINF there will be a doc. So inside the Java doc will be there. You can open that, like index page. Inside index page you will have all the classes available, which SailPoint provided. So here I will be importing all the SailPoint dot object. You will have a API as well, and other there are other classes which you can use. So the syntax will be import. Then what are the class you are using, the package Java dot util. If you give star, it will include all or import all the available classes inside this package. Then again SailPoint dot object get all the classes. Yeah, these two things, Apache Commons dot logging dot log and log factory for logging things. So this is the basic thing which you need to know, why we are importing, what class we need to impose. Let's say if you are directly using like get context dot get object directly using and not mentioning the identity class, you'll get the error saying class not found and dot. And the next thing is logging, like whenever you write something, you need to, means if you are developing yourself, first thing we used to add sysout and logs for debugging the things. So for that you can import log factory get log. You can add your rule naming and all there. Then with that variable you need to call info trace. Means there are class for each logger. So get the, means as I mentioned, like info we have, trace we have, warn, error we have. So depending upon your logging level, you can use the or call those methods or APIs. So the basic thing is sysout. Like you can add system.out.println. So this is Java. So in the Java, if you want to print like the basic hello world will be means if you want to print the basic hello world, you can use sysout. That is system.out.println. So there are two options we have. Like if you, means if you add this, it will be logged in logger files, either Catalina or your custom loggers. So this, if you add sysout, you can get it in the console itself. So and every rule can return something. If you want to return, so you can add a return uh, keyword like return statement, pass whatever the variable or output or message you want to return. So these are basic, like you will have a tag, within that you will have a source tag, then within that you can add the statements, whatever the statement logic, loops, conditions, whatever it is, you can add within that source tag. The first statement will be import, or first uh, line will be import basically. Then means here I'm just added the comments can be added double slash, means again it's a Java based, you can add double slash or like this. It should start with slash star and should end with star slash. Okay. This is again basic thing. So first you'll be importing required classes, APIs. Then you means if required you can add sysout or log. Then do the rest of the things. The last statement will be return. First is import, then last is return. And in BeanShell, so you can have like you will be calculating or you will be having conditions like if conditions or loops. So in those cases we need to have and operations, like if a variable is not null and dot means variable dot get name is not equal to null, then go inside the loop. Those conditions we need to add ampersand. So there are two ways. Like if you are using script directly like this, you are not using C data. So there will be a C data you can see here. It start with this, like this is the format for C data and should end with this. So you can see then like this. So within this, if you add anything, your code, no need to do these changes. Like for ampersand, we need to replace ampersand with ampersand and AMP colon. If you are using ampersand, if you are otherwise, you can use at and. If you want to use lesser than symbol, you need to use ampersand LT or at LT. So these two things you need to do, otherwise you will get parse error. If you are enclosing your code within C data, no need to do those things. Here you can see I have not added any AMP and colon, like basically semicolon. So if you are not using C data, either you can use this or again this, like if you are not using C data, you can use and at and also instead of ampersand. Again, this is the basic. So next thing, here input signature is there. So you have seen, if you want to write a direct load standalone rule, you can do this, do that within source. But if some cases like there will be a type as well, like each rule has its type. This is the standalone one, but this is specifically for post iterate. So I have gone through rule type, like each rule type, like provisioning, the certification rule, aggregation rule, connector rule and all, you can go through that, but the type you need to mention in the tag, like rule tag itself. Then it will have description, can give, or it's not mandatory, it's just for a developer to understand what this rule is. Then the signature part. So signature is like if you are calling this rule, you can pass the parameter from other rule also. So if you want to pass the parameter, then inside the rule you need to add a signature as input, like argument. You can like, let's say if you are passing identity object, you can add identity here, saying like identity object. Or if you are passing identity display name, you can give whatever the variable name you can give here, and you need to pass it from other rule. Then you can also have other tab. There is other tab called return. So what this rule is returning, that also you can add. Again, this is the basic thing. Like if you add a signature, within signature you need to add import, and also you can add a return, inputs and return. And I have created a separate folder called BeanShell, and I will be uploading this to my GitHub. You can get these rules for each concept. I have added uh, I have created a XML file like intro. The next concept will be variable, data types, control system, control structures, and also we'll see those things. So in this, the first thing will be the introduction, like why we are importing, what we need to import, then how to print the statements, and what are the things available. Like let's say if you want to return, you will have a return statement. Then what tags we need to do, like whenever you create any rule through UI, like from connector or from UI, there are options where you can create the rule. If you do through UI, you will have this signature by default. But if you are importing manually, then you can do this, like just create a tag. You can copy these things. Doc type will be rule, and then rule language will be BeanShell, then the name, then you can import it directly. As I mentioned, I will be covering from basic bean shell concept to advanced. So this is just an introduction, and in further videos, you like in further video, you'll see other concepts as well. So if I execute this now, I have a terminal here. Again, it's the same process. Like just go to the installation path, then launch the iaq.bat. If you are in Windows system, like usually you'll have in the system, just do .bat, or if you're using Mac, you can use .sh as well. So here rule, yeah, simple bean shell searching for user. You can see here simple bean shell. I have given a string here, then searching user. This is a basic thing. Again, like whenever I'm executing this, so if you want, right click, just deploy artifact default. Means I have already shown you how you can integrate IQ module into Eclipse, or whatever the means. You might be having Eclipse or IntelliJ or whatever it is. You can use required means extension you can do, and you can use, or you can run the code from IDE itself. So the next concept will be a variable. So whenever you want to call anything, like basically variable is a storage in your code or in the bean shell here. So let's say if you want to get the user, so you need to specify the user's information, like context dot get object by name. So context here is SailPoint context. So in IIQ, IIQ will have a database, right? Like all the database link will be there in, means it's a database link basically. Instead of having JDBC connection, then executing SQL query, instead of that, this context variable, you can use context variable in all workflows, rules, wherever it is. Just use a context. Using that, pass required operation, like get object by name here. So get the whatever the object, we have two parameters. One is the class of the object where you want to get it, like here identity dot class. Then you will be passing the identity name. So this is variable. So variable have a data type. So here string is data type. So the format here is like or syntax, data type and variable name, then the value you can give whatever the value. If it is string, you can give like this, or if it is integer, you can give int, whatever the count, a number, and quotes is not required. It's again a Java thing, so quote is not required. And if it is string, you need to enclose within double quotes. So in Java, string will be considered as a non-primitive data type. So the primitive data types are int, float, long, like those are all primitive one. the other objects are non-primitive. So here you can see string, identity name, variable name can be anything, but there is some rules for it as well, like you should not use a key as a name. Like let's say new, the key, like there are some keys like new, static, or throw. Those are all default keywords which the Java has provided. So you should not use those keyword as a variable name, and you can use anything other than that. And basically, when you are developing something, having naming convention also, it's a good practice. Like start with lowercase, then if it has something like identity, here is lowercase, the next word starts with caps N. So that's again a naming convention you can go for. And then I'm assigning the identity name, employee number, again it's a name of our identity. Then I'm passing it to the context.get object by name. So again, here I'm creating a new variable called identity. Here data type is identity, is object. So you can have object as well, object, whatever the object, and you can give any name, variable name. Then the value will be assigned to this variable. Again, you can see query options. You can create new query options. Again, it's creating new class with that thing. You can, like here, list dot identity list is another variable, like identity list you can consider. You can have hash map, set, or whatever it is. You can assign values to any variables. So this is about a basic thing. So whenever you create or you build any new rule, there were variables. Like you can see here, identity is a variable and string is variable. Again, you can have integer, some places for counting and all. So if I execute this, again I'm using console from my ID itself. Again, searching user, you can see I'm searching user, then context dot get object by name, then identity dot class. I want to get the identity class, I'm passing the name, so I got the identity here. Using this I can get anything like first name, last name, email, anything. So that, again, the basic KPIs will be there. Using identity, you can use identity dot get name, get email, get attribute, and pass the required attribute. Those things you can do. So this is about BeanShell variable. So once you are good with variable, the next concept will be a control structure. Control structure contains loops, condition based things like if condition, like if else, switch conditions. Then we have loops, either it will be for loops or while loops. So we'll see those things. Like again, you have a break, continue in a control structure as well. Like let's say if you want to break the flow, you can use a break keyword, or if you want to skip some items, you can use continue keyword. So here, as I shown earlier, like I'll be getting identity. So then based on the identity, if you want to check whether the identity exists or not. So let's say if I give something like this, then let me import. So what happens is, like if I execute this, you can see it's searching for user. It got printed this, then no user found. And again, the log dot error says error with this no user found, because this user is not present. Then let me put it again. So if user is present, so I was checking null here. So whenever you get anything, the basic thing, the first important thing you need to do is null check. Like either check like whether the identity, means whatever the variable, equals null or not. The conditions which you can add is not equal to null, if equal to null, add some statements like no user present or something like that. If use or if the object is present, to check whether object is present, like you should not get, like let's say if object is null and you are trying to get here, like this you need to do like not equal to null and get links not equal to void. Otherwise if it is null, then you'll get null pointer exception here if you're not doing this basic null check or a void check. So that's why if there is a identity, I'm doing like not equal to null. As I mentioned earlier, if you are using ampersand, you need to use AMP semicolon. Then this is if condition. Then comes a loop. So loop example, you can see I'll be getting the links here. Basically, links will be the list. Get all the links. So you can see the for loop. How we can do is either you can do like this, or there are other ways to do for loop as well. But you can see link, and this is a variable. Then the value which you want to iterate. So for each link, it will print this like user link get application. So if I execute this, uh, you can see searching user link. Here you got user links. It's all links. You can see it's a list. So if the return value is enclosed within bracket, then that will be the list. Okay. Then for each user link, you can see here it's a links, then user link. And again, this is a return value here. I'm returning identity.get links. And for each link, it is printing the application. You can see contractor LDAP HR system that which user has. So there are other multiple cases where you need to use a for loop or if condition. But basically, like most of the time, you use like this only. Like you get the links, or uh, using query option, you get the again iterator and all. We'll see those things. So you have seen a simple if condition. There is a if else condition as well. Like if get name equals this, then print something or do something here. Otherwise, do within else, like if identity name, like here name is something like a 2020 so that it won't come under if loop, it will come under else loop. Again, as I mentioned, instead of ampersand, you can use at and as well. There are two options available here. Either you can use with ampersand AMP colon or at and. If you don't want to use anything, you can directly go with C data. The next loop. You can see here I have created a class. Then get object, get all the object for provided list. So here, as I have given no filter, so it will get all the users. Then I have created, or I'm creating new array list. Then iterate or add it to the list, get all the user, add it to the list, then print the identity list. So we'll see the output now first. Again, let me put it again. Yeah. So here we have a list of users. So I don't want to print this, or let me comment this. Yeah. Now you can see searching for user means that's the first print statement. Then in this loop, so I'll just ran the whole search of users. So I have not given any filter. Because I have not given any filter, it's directly searching the identity table, get all the table. Then for each entry, I'll be adding it to the list. Then return ID list. This list I'll be returning. So I'm adding get display name id dot get display name. So this example, you can see here I was using for loop for link. Again, here I'm using for identity. So you can use any object here. So in a variable, I have shown you like how you need to assign value to a variable based on the data type. So here the data type will be identity, that is object. Basically, in IAQ, there are some objects like identity, application, bundle, manage attribute, like that. So if you want to iterate any object, you need to specify that object. That is, here it is identity, above it is link. So as I got list of links, I was iterating for link, right? So I had to give the data type as link. So in simple way, like if you are iterating something like string, so then you need to use like this and give the string value here, list of string values. In next case, like here, it is like this. Instead of returning everything, I can print it here. So that is, so if you want to print something like this is also considered the string. So I'm concatenating it. You can add some print statement like user, then like this. You can see here. So if you want to iterate string, then add the data type as a string, then str, like it's again it's a temporary variable. You can give anything, then the list or which you want to iterate. So you can see user means here I am printing all the users, but here I'm iterating each user. I'm print means the returning whole list, but in sysout I'm printing each identity, and that is as a string because I have stored it as a id dot get display name, and it is a string. That's why I have to give string. But in this case, list get identity list because get object will return the list of identity. So I was giving identity here, identity as a data type, and I was saving it to a list, and that is a string. So I'll be iterating string here. That's the differences actually. So you can use any data type here, which the list which you are iterating has. Yeah, this is about control structure. Like you will be having if loops, which most of the time we use if or for loop or while loop. Yeah. So next concept will be a functions or method. This is a block of a code, that is a reusable code, when like we can call it multiple times whenever it's required. So we can pass parameter, and functions or method will return the required value as well. So instead of having a same statements or same code multiple times, we can have a single block of code where whenever it is required we can call it. So the examples in IAQ is like, let's say if you want to create a plan, or if you want to add account request or attribute request to the plan, you can have a single method. Or if you want to audit, or if you want to send an email, so in those cases only email templates or attribute might change. So you can have a single block of code where you can call that block so whenever it is required. So the syntax will be like, there are three cases here. Like it's a simple method like function. So function one, or it will have some set of statements. So public, you can have a public, private, anything. The void, the next thing will be the return type, like what you are like, if you want to return something, that object type you need to give. Then the name of the function or method. Then braces, like within that, like you can give the parameters. enclosed within flower bracket. The same like here void which won't return anything. If you pass something like if you provide something like string, list, identity, whatever it is, you have to return the same type here. So here let's say if you want to return string, you enclose within quotes or whatever the logic you have written, whatever the statement you have written within the flower bracket, within the braces, like uh, calculate those string and you can return those things. The same thing like passing parameter, you can see you can pass the parameters within uh, closed bracket, small bracket, then whatever like so how we can call is like let's say if you want to call a function one, so just type function like this. You can just call like this, means I just added within like I just added comment, so you can just use like this, or you can add a parameter if you are calling something like this. So here are some examples I have. So if you want to update a user, so this scenario is just to update a user. So here you can see it's a third case here, like it contains a return type as a string. I'm just sending a message saying updated, then update user is a method name, then the parameters which I'm passing are like user attribute which I have to update, and attribute value. I'll be just checking whether value is not contains some value, it's not null. Then get the identity using context.get object by name, pass the user the parameter which we have received, then check whether identity is there or not, is present or not, like past user is exist or not in IAQ. Then with that identity object, set attribute and value, save object, commit transaction, decache. So then return the value. You can see here this will let me call this. Again, I'll be executing through console, simple BeanShell updated. So you can see the value as well here, like so here just checking the identity value. Then again let me deploy this, then execute. You can see the identity. Okay. Just updating. So to call this for method, like I'm using update user, passing username, email, and the attribute and attribute value. So the next case is like executing API. I can't execute this, so it's just an example here. So you can see again it's a public, then the return type will be map, and the method name is execute API, then the parameter is list of identities like you can use. So here it's a use case where you want to connect to a API. So means if you want to execute some API, you can use this, like you need to import HTTP port, post, util, entity, and all. So web service application, in the web service application, what happens is like you can you have to get some authorization, like there will be OAuth authentication, basic authentication, and all. So get the barrier token. Using that barrier token, like you can connect to the any API, REST APIs. So here the base URL, like I have a custom object. Using that custom object, there will be a base URL accept header. So again, this is not regarding to connected to the API. This example is to show you how we can use a method, or how we can create a method, and which can be reused multiple times. So in this case, I'm just calling HTTP response. With that HTTP response, I get the response, and I'll passing the result map. is another method basically. Like, so there are like I in you know like in previous video I have shown you what are the like how we can create method. Like I have shown you a number of methods where uh, I have used like updating AD groups or creating a provisioning plan and all. So here is another example, like building account deletion plan. So the same case, like I'll be passing user EID, app identity, and native identity. So here, what I'm doing is I'm creating a provision plan object, then a account request object, then setting the operation delete, the application, the past application, then the native identity, then adding attribute to it. So in the coming things, like I'll show you what are the objects and all. So then once plan is created, I will be returning the plan. So through this, like you can create plan for whatever the application and user or identity you have passed. So no need to use the same code multiple times. So the whole motto of creating a method is like uh, having a block of code which can be reused a number of times. So how this will be used in IAQ is, you most of the times, like what happens is we create a rule library. In the rule library we'll add the block of codes, and we name the like it's a method. So and we reference that rule in the whatever in the workflows, or again the standalone rule. From that rule you will be calling the rule library methods. So you can have a single rule library and you can call it multiple times. So instead of having the same code multiple times, or again having method placed in the rule library is also like it will help to maintain the clean code, instead of having everything in a single in a uh, in your workflow or rule. You can have a rule library where required things will be placed there. Like you can have a workflow library, you can have LDAP operation library, you can have Active Directory operation libraries, you can have a web service like application specific library, you can have workflow specific library, you can have like certification specific library also. You can have like you can have a library for anything, like for all the operation you can have a single library and you can call that. So this is about method of function in BeanShell. So the next concept will be objects. So objects and classes, like if you are aware of object oriented programming things, like it's a core concepts of programming actually. So like it's organizing the code basically. Like a class is a blueprint or a template for creating object or instance. So let's say if you want to or whatever the operation if you want to do in IIQ or in any programming language, there should be a block of codes, right? Like uh, let's say if you want to provision something, you need to create a provisioning plan object. With that object you can add the account request, and account request is again another object. Like everything in IIQ is object basically. Like identity is an object. Inside identity again we have a links, a bundle, owner. All these are object. Like if you want to do something, you need to have the objects place. Like you need to understand what is object as well. Like object is an again instance of class. Like there will be a class means again you need to understand the programming language to understand what is class and what is object and all. But on high level, like again, it's a object is an instance of class. It is a specific realization of a class template holding actual data and being able to perform operations defined by classes. Like for example, if you have a car class, an object of a class might be the model of the car, and its instance with a specific data like color, model, speed, and behaviors are like a brake and all. So basically object, like I can show you in the Java doc. So all these are classes, okay, and let's say the whole classes, and you need to create or you need to call that class. Let's say if you want to create identity, okay, and you need to go to I means you can check identity class, and you need to import that class as well, so it will be available under identity. So whatever the object you are using, so again the parent object will be java.lang dot object. So you can see we have SailPoint dot object dot identity, and that's what I was saying. Like, let's say you got the identity using context dot get object by name, or by any means. If you got the identity, using that identity you can get the link object. So you can see uh, here you can see the type here. Okay. uh, we have attributes, then we have bundle identity, and bundle get assigned roles is a bundle object. Again, get attribute, it can be anything. So if you want to get the email, that will be string, and if you want to get a termination date, it might be string, or the date object as well. Then again we have a bundle here, then in some place you will be having link as well. um, yeah, identity, it's okay. Then as I mentioned, I will be having date as well, then link. Yeah, so these are depreciated, but get links, you can see here, it will be the list of links. Again, when you click on this, it will take you to the link object. Then again, inside link you'll be having other object as well. So you need to understand the object module of IAQ as well to understand. And like each object, like link will have identity, identity will have application, and inside application you will be having other object. So in IAQ everything is interlinked. So that's why you need to understand what is object as well. So in case of provisioning plan, or like basically if you want to get anything, like you can see, you are initiating this, like you are getting the identity and assigning it to identity variable using context dot get object by name. You'll get the identity. Using this you can get the link, which is a link object. You can get the application, which is application object, bundle object, like that. So the format will be like, if you have to give the object name, then just give some variable name, then get the object. Here, this is the example actually. To create an instance of class provisioning plan, then the just give any variable and new provisioning plan, and again account request, like this. All this will be available in the Java doc which I have shown. So using that you'll call some method. So the what is method I already shown you. So here I am passing the parameter. I'll be setting some operation, setting application, native identity, and all. So object using this will be performing some actions, like creating plan, executing the plan, or like if you want to create, means identity, you can use identity object. Or if you want to add a link to the user, you can do that. Like if you want to create any new resource object, so everything in IAQ, you need to create object and assign it to some other object. Like everything is interlinked, like as I mentioned. Yeah, this is all about object in BeanShell. And again, the same goes in the Java as well. Like what are the things we have seen in Java, the same thing is available in BeanShell. So error handling in BeanShell, like, so exception, like sometimes when you are executing some rule, or in the workflow execution or any execution, there will be a exception, or there will be a error occurs, like due to some null check, or class not available, or the code issue, or parse error as well. So these exceptions are the errors that occurs during the execution of your rule or workflow. You can handle exception, like we need to handle the exception so that the program won't crash, and you will have a proper understanding where and all the error is occurred. So how we can do that is, like there is a concept called try catch block. Like whatever the code you write, you add it inside the catch block. So again, like you can see, we will be having try. Within that we will have catch. The syntax for this is, it will have try, then after that it will have catch. Again you can have like this. So any statement or anything you do it here. So then you'll have a catch block where you can have the errors like um, it will have a general exception or file not found exception if you are doing something, or general exception is fine. So add the exception here. So it can be any exception like this. And you can, in the sysout, you can show that exception as well. Like you can add sysout here, then throw that error. And finally, so finally can be used when if you have open any connection, if you have open any files, you can close that in finally. Like if there is a failure, or if there means if the execution happens smoothly also, like finally will be executed. So let's say if you have opened some connection here, like some DB connections, or if you open some files, then that can be closed in final block. Then if there any error happen within this block, it will be cached here. So it will be cached here, and the next execution will happen smoothly. So here is the example. I have added some statements or some block of code within a try block. So here just updating some managed attribute. So any issue happens within this block, it will be cached here. You can see we have general exception and exception as well, like fail to update owner in a add owner method. For this again, fail to means again you can have a multiple catch as well. Like if it is general exception, it will get caught here, otherwise it will come here. Yeah, this is about error handling. So have a try catch block in all of your code, so that whenever there is execution error happens, the next block will be executed smoothly. So no need to like, it will helpful for you as well while debugging, and the execution halt or crashing won't happen. Next is a simple concept like how you can save or commit changes in BeanShell. So this won't be available in Java. Like this is specific to IAQ. So whenever you modify something through rule, not through rule, and you are not going for a provisioning, you just want to update some objects like identity, manage attribute, or custom object, or whatever be the application, or whatever be the object. If you want to update it, there is a process like you need to set the object. Like in this case, you can see means I have already shown this example, but how to commit is in the sense like you need to have that object, then set the attribute. Like I'm just setting the attribute here. Then three things you need to do is save the object, then commit the transaction. It's like same as the DB operations. Like you need to commit the transaction, like save the object, like execute the SQL query, then commit, like that itself. Like you just save the object, then commit the transaction and decache the object. The same way you can see, like I'm modifying the custom object here. So custom, basically you can have some key value pair in the custom file. It's kind of a property file in IAQ. We have two objects like custom and config. So if you want to add things like application specific, or if you want to store some URL, password, whatever it is, you can store it in either in config or configuration object, or you can create configuration object, or you can create custom object as well. So here for creation of UID, this is one of the example like how you can create a user ID and all. But here the concept is save and committing the object. So you can say I'm getting the concept, I'm updating the a new CID. So once update is done, the two things you need to do is save the object and commit the transaction. You can also decache the object. So three steps you need to once you save and commit the things. Like if you want to save and commit the things, like you have to save the object, whatever the object you are modifying, then commit the transaction, then decache that object. Yeah, this is about saving and committing the objects in IQ. So in some places, we might need to do a lock and unlock the object as well. So that I have made separate video that's not related to or not frequently used. So IAQ will take care of locking the objects and all. But saving and committing, you need to know because we will be doing this in multiple places, as I mentioned in identity or in managed attribute or custom objects. Next important concept will be rule referencing in BeanShell. So it's not only in BeanShell, you can refer your rules in workflows or forms, policies, like as well as in the rule. So so here what we'll be doing is we'll be referencing the single rule. Either we can call it as a library or whatever it is, a util or whatever. You can name it like, but the whole intention of doing this is to have a single rule or a library or util where we can add all the required methods. So we already seen what is method and all. So we add a block of code there, and we will be calling that block of code from other rule. So here you can add a number of methods, and you can also add the parameters. So that parameter can be used in the rule where you are referencing. So here, like in the rule library, I can see I have a couple of methods. One is to get the new UID. So if I execute this rule now, so I'll be executing this rule from the console. You can see it gave me a new UID. Again, next time it will increment by one. So this is an example where you can call a method which is present in reference rule from a calling rule. So the same way, like if you want to launch some workflows, if you want to trigger rule, if you want to set something, or if you want to get the plan for a past identity and the application account request, whatever it is, you can have a rule library. So in the rule library, you can like, so here what I am doing is I am having a single rule library. So these kind of examples or scenarios you'll see in n number of places in your organization. Like so there will be a SSF framework, approval framework. You will see the referencing of approvals. So you can see there is samples here. So if I open any of this, uh, let me open. I'll be having a rule reference. Let me check in this. So this will be available with SSB itself. Like you can see rule libraries. In case of rule, you need to use referenced rules and add all the reference. In workflow, you can use rule libraries. You can add the libraries or rule. So in this case also you can reference the rule. So all these rules will be referenced in your project. Like you can see there will be a multiple rules where there will be a referencing, like again you can see, yeah, these rule libraries, the multiple rule libraries are referenced in dynamic approval workflows. So this workflow will be used in the all the organization where dynamic approval is required, like considering approval based on the approval flow of roles, entitlement, or whatever it happens through manager access, or if you have a custom workflows. This is about referencing rule in BeanShell or in IAQ. Till now, you have seen the concepts of BeanShell, like a variable, how we can create variable, how to use loops uh, and conditions, how to create a method, what is object, and how to handle the error and all. So now utilizing the objects, like I already shown you the object details as well, like utilizing some of the objects like query. Like there are multiple ways to search object in IIQ through rule. So first way will be like it's a simple one, get object by name or get object by ID. So the same can be used for all the objects here. Like every time I show, like I show it for identity. So yeah, what I'm showing is like searching identity object. So the same can be used for other objects as well. Just need to pass the object name here and the required name or the ID. This is a simple way, that is get object by name or ID. The other way is query options. Query options is like a code version of SQL query. Like when you are writing any query, you'll have a filter, a where condition, and you'll pass the required columns. So the same way here, the query option filter will be there, like where condition, like these examples show you or give the result of type, like for provided type. So here the type is like application type. It will provide all the, or it will show you all the list of applications where a type is a passed type. So the example here is like query option. Add the filter equals, we have equal, not equal, and you can add and condition and all. Like whatever the condition you add in the SQL query, same thing can be applied here. So then we have two option, either context dot search or we have get object. So get objects will be the least, and then the search will be for iterator. So then while loop, we will be using while loop. We'll check here, like if the iterator has something, has some value, then get that value. Then whatever, like is this an example just to get the name of the application. So I'll be just creating a list, adding the name of application to the which I'm showing the uh, system, like I'm just printing it. I'm calling that, like here get app, I'm just passing the delimited file here. Then remove old task is again another simple example, like name. Here you can see filter like name monitoring task, which starts with monitoring task. You can see the match mode is start. You can do end or anywhere as well. Here, if any task starts with a monitoring task, get those tasks, means list those tasks and loop through it and terminate those tasks. You can see here terminator dot delete object. We are deleting the object, then commit the transaction. Again, in above condition, you have seen that like adding filters, like you can add like equal and all. You can also run the SQL query. If you are running SQL query, you have to mention it as a SQL. If you are running HQL, like it's a object. So here you can see if it is SQL, you have to give the exact table name, that is identity IQ, like whatever, like all the table starts with SPT underscore. So with object, you have to give the table name and the column name, but in case of HQL, you need to give the object name and the attributes. So I'll be executing the query here, the same query option, then set query, search the query and the query option, like use context dot search, then it will give you the iterator. Like again, iterator will be iterating to the result if there has any value. Then store it to the object. Either it will be means object is either it will be a string or whatever be the object, array of object. Then get that value, print it. So everything I'll be enclosing within try catch block. As I have shown you before, like we have a try catch block for error handling, for general exception and exception. And at the end, I will be flushing the result. So in finally block, I am uh, flushing the result. So let me execute this. you can see the first result, like I'm just querying user, searching user, then I got, like if I search with name, I got the same result if I search with ID. So what I'm doing is, first I'm passing the identity name, getting the identity. With that identity, I'm getting the ID. Then I'm searching with get object by ID. I'm just showing you how we can search object with two APIs, that is object by name and object by ID. The next thing is the query options. So as I have mentioned that we are querying, or I am querying the application object with a filter type. So the type I am passing is delimited file, so I'll be getting the list of delimited file connectors. Then the next thing is like SQL query. So the query I am running is select name and display name from the identity object. So then I'm getting like all the identity object name and full name. So this is about acquiring or searching in IAQ using BeanShell. Then you have seen the execution of a rule from the console, or those execution happen via a form, policies, workflows and all. So here are some of the example where you can trigger rule from a rule itself. So again, this is just an example. You'll be seeing these kind of scenarios in your approval frameworks. So calculating owners, like primary owner, secondary owner, or a manager, for those things you'll be seeing these things like to cal or to trigger any rule, the simple way we have get object, then context dot run rule. So in the SailPoint context we'll be having the method called run rule. First you need to get the rule, then the arguments, like we know that there will be a signature and inputs for those things, like inside the rule which you are calling. If you want some parameters or arguments, you can pass those things as well by creating the map. Then add the values, like input name, the variable name, and the required value. This is an example, like argument 1 and 2. I'm passing this, like I will be just context dot run rule will trigger the rule. Then there are two examples to trigger workflow from the rule, or from the bean shell. That is like we have two options, one with a request definition, or workflow launch. So here the same way, like if you want to trigger anything, there will be a arguments need to be passed, so you need to pass the arguments. Then what workflow need to be triggered, so two things need to be set first. So in case of rule, we are getting the rule object, so context dot get object, get the rule first, then call that rule, pass in the argument. In the same way, we'll be getting the workflow first, then uh, pass the parameter, required parameters, like you can see launch arguments, identity name, launcher, everything you can pass, like whatever if you want, or can be passed. So then create the workflow launch object, set the values like a flow name, reference, variables and all. Then workflower, create a workflower, then launch workflow through workflow dot launch. So here workflow launch is means the objects which we are using is like workflow launch, workflower, then workflow launch object itself. Like that's the same launch we will be calling here. The next thing will be the request definition. So in IAQ, every, like most of the things are request, like email triggering, or the task which are triggered in the background. Like if you have scheduled something through workflow, like let's say if you want to launch some workflows, but after some time or given time or days as well. So for those things you can have a request definition. The same way, like I'll be getting the workflow, I'll be creating case and all. Then here you can see the launch time. So launch time can be anything. You can create a date as well. You can have a calendar and calculate the date, add the dates, like you can trigger workflow for like after month as well. So here case name will be workflow name with the launch time. Then create the required arguments. These are all default one. You can copy paste directly. Then as I mentioned, you'll be having a request, so you have to create a request, then request definition with workflow request. So we have rule request as well, but here the request definition is rule request. Then set the definition event date. This is where like we set the triggering time, that is like a date here, launch time, which we are passing. So you can add the a date to the current date as well, like you can call the workflows after days as well. Then owner id will be id, like set name the case name, attributes which we have configured, like attributes like a workflow id, case and all. Means here are the two examples, like how you can launch workflow within rule. Yeah, till now I have made most of concepts of a bean shell with basics to advanced. So calling rule, calling workflows are advanced level. Like you need to understand what are the arguments need to be passed, or what are the methods or classes we are using. So, but before that, you need to understand what is bean shell. So just go through all the concepts. Don't miss the single thing, like you have to go through what is introduction, like what are the basic things need to be there in a bean shell, then the variables, structures, then function, then what are the objects we have, what is use of objects, and how we can handle the error, then how to save the objects and all. So I hope this video will help you to understand about bean shell in IAQ. Thanks for watching.